Okay. So I've already gotten a couple of great questions. So I figure I may as well go ahead and start giving some content today. Number one, today's going to be pay yourself first. If you wait to save and invest after you've already taken care of everything else you wanted to do, you will find there's very little or none left. But if you pay yourself first, then you can have fun with the rest. So, put together a budget. You can use Excel, you can use paper and pencil, or if there's some type of budgeting app you like, feel free to use that. Main thing is to figure out what you have coming in, your take home check, and what you have going out. Okay, so find out what your minimum monthly payments are for your rent, your mortgage, figure out what your insurance costs are, and remember you can shop those. So if your insurance has gone up and up and up, feel free to call your insurance company, ask for a better rate, or even shop at other insurance companies. Um, Car note if you have it, your typical car repairs. Put together a list of all of your monthly expenses and even any expenses you might have that are quarterly, semi annual, yearly, and kind of figure out where it comes to per month. Once you know how much you have on fixed expenses, then you can calculate how much money you should have left, right? And then you just make a goal to say, okay, I'm going to put X amount into my savings account. You can start off with a small goal. You want to get to $500, $1,000, and eventually you want that savings goal to get you to 3 to 6 months of emergency expenses. I know the 3 to 6 months can be daunting, but if you just start with how much are you able to put in and go from there, that'll be good. So then if you have some type of unexpected expense, flat tire, um, job layoff, home repair, emergency travel, not a vacation, but emergency travel for a funeral or something like that, then you have the funds set aside that you're only using for emergencies. Um, and then, two, you want to look in your paycheck to see, are you getting your full employer match at least, right? So if your employer is matching you, you know, 50% for every dollar you put in the full amount they match you up to. I know in the federal government, the match is, it's a 4% match, but you have to contribute 5% to get the full 4% match, and then it's a 1% automatic. So just make sure you're getting at least that. So that way you have 10% going in. You're going to want to increase that as you go along, but at least make sure you have some emergency funds saved up before you do that. You also want to look at the credit cards. The credit cards, we don't want to use them unless we can pay them off in full. We don't want to live off of monthly payments. We want to save to buy the things we need to buy. An exception, of course, would be, you might have to take out a mortgage, right? If you had the money to buy a house in cash and pay in full, you may not be a person who has to listen to financial content, right? So you may need a mortgage. You may need to buy a car. But keep in mind, if you do buy a car with payments, we don't want to buy an $80,000 car with payments, right? If we're going to buy a luxury car, we want to be able to pay for that in cash. Car payments for us to get a car that's reliable, that can get us from point A to point B, not something for us to cruise in luxury. The luxury comes at the end of the journey, not the beginning, because the luxury cars are what are keeping you from being able to save and invest. Um, Also, any other expenses, Student loans, if you're either a parent putting children through school or you yourself have student loans, you want to look at how you can minimize the amount of student loans by applying for scholarships, grants, financial aid. Student loans you may have to take out if you're not able to get some of those vehicles, but don't use student loans to pay $200,000 for a private education. Probably not worth it. I can guarantee you, even now, nobody says, "Hey, Shantae, where did you graduate from? And what's your degree in?" At this point, they're looking at my experience, right? So the degree got you in the door, and the experience is what really keeps you in the door and able to move up. So just keep in mind, um, we just want to cut back on taking out debt unless it's for something we really need, like a house, a car, a reasonable car, or education. So, main keys, the debt, making sure that you pay yourself first by doing your full employer match, putting funds aside for emergencies that you're not going to touch. And even if you have very little left at the end of your budget, and let's say you only have $100, we'll take it, right? Or if you say, well, I need to be able to do something else, $50. Start doing something. I am also going to talk about where you need to be investing your funds, but that should get you started. And that's whether you're a one income or two income, right? Because you still have fixed expenses. So if you pay yourself last, there'll be nothing left. Pay yourself first. Black folks with dollars.